guys, welcome to the Commons. We are going to sing a few songs together, so feel free to stand and sing with us. From the highest of heights to the depths of the sea, creation's revealing your majesty. From the colors of fall to the fragrance of spring, every creature unique in the song that it sings, all exclaiming, indescribable, uncontainable. You place the stars in the sky and you know them by name. You are amazing, God. All powerful, untamable, awestruck we fall to our knees as we humbly proclaim. You are amazing, God. Who was told every lightning bolt where it should go, or seen heavenly storehouses laden with snow? Who imagined the sun and gives source to its light, yet conceals it to bring us the coolness of night? None can fathom, indescribable, uncontainable. You place the stars in the sky and you know them by name. You are amazing, God. All powerful, untamable, awestruck we fall to our knees as we humbly proclaim. You are amazing, God. Indescribable, uncontainable. You place the stars in the sky and you know them by name. You are amazing, God. All powerful, untamable, awestruck we fall to our knees as we humbly proclaim. You are amazing, God. You are amazing, God. You are my ecosystem. You are the air I'm breathing. In the endless wasteland, you are my rushing fountain. You are my ecosystem. No matter what the weather, you are my better option. No matter what I'm facing, you are water from the rock and I'll thirst no more. You hold up my arms when I'm battle torn. Oasis within me, you're the oasis within me. You are colors in the sky after 40 rains. In the thick of the night till the break of day. Oasis within me, you're the oasis within me. You are my ecosystem. You are the air I'm breathing. In the endless wasteland, you are my rushing fountain. You are my ecosystem. No matter
oasis within me. You're the oasis within me. You are colors in the sky after 40 rains. In the thick of the night till the break of day. Oasis within me. You're the oasis within me. You are water from the rock and I'll thirst no more. You hold up my arms when I'm battle torn. Oasis within me. The oasis within me. You are colors in the sky after 40 rains. In the thick of the night till the break of day. Oasis within me. The oasis within me.
Old things have passed away. Your love has stayed the same. Your constant grace remains the cornerstone. Things that we thought were dead are breathing in life again. You cause your sun to shine on darkest nights. And Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. The hopeless have found their hope. The wanderers have a home. And all that was lost has found its place in you. And you lift our weary heads. You make us strong instead. You took these rags and made us beautiful. So Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. And Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. Our hearts adore. Our hearts adore. Our hearts adore. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. We love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. And Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. Thanks for singing with us. You guys can have a seat, and we're going to have Greta come up to give us some announcements.
Hey friends, so great to see everyone. My name is Greta. Welcome, welcome. If you're new or if you're visiting, we hope you feel super welcome here. The Commons is a space where we hope that everyone can feel loved and connected and we can grow together. A couple of things, we have a back table over there with some info on some of our programs and some volunteer sign-up sheets and stuff like that. Also right in front of you in the pews, we have some envelopes that say how you can either give and make a donation or how you can add your email to our monthly email list. So check that out if you're interested. And I have some announcements for you today. So, one thing to mention, as a lot of you probably know, a few days ago on Friday night, we had our banquet over at Lowell Observatory, which was a beautiful celebration. Saw so many of you there. That was a really sweet, special time. So thank you to everyone who came or who helped or just made that such a sweet time. We really had a blast, and I'm sure we'll be posting and sharing some pictures soon. We got a lot of fun photos also. But if you weren't there or if you had to leave early, we had a bunch of extra programs printed, so we just placed some back on that table. Feel free to check one out if you want. And on the back, it also has kind of some of the information we shared at the end if people are interested in supporting our community. So check this out or grab a flyer or a program if you're interested in looking at that. The other thing is after our banquet, we had a good amount of food left over. We had some big charcuterie spreads, which was really fun. And we brought a bunch of that food here tonight. So if you're interested, right after service, you can head up to the dining hall right here, Reese Hall, and just snack with us because there's a bunch of charcuterie stuff. So I think we'll still pick a dinner place and announce that, but if we want like a 20-minute snacking period, it might be a full meal. And then you can go to the dinner location. That is an option. Come join us for that as well. Kids are welcome, everyone. All right, so next announcement, our college and young adults ministry has a dinner. They do once a month dinners, and which is a super sweet time to connect and meet friends and just get to know each other deeper. Sometimes they play games or have a fire pit, all those kinds of things. So if you're between the ages of 18 and 30 and interested in that, that's going to be on Friday, March 28th, this coming Friday at 6 p.m. at Jess's house. So make sure you write down Jess's number or come talk to us. We can get your number and send it to who it needs to be sent to, but we'd love to see you there if you want to come to that dinner. Also, every single Wednesday night, we have our community group, which meets at our office downtown. So if you are interested in just diving a little deeper into reading a book together or looking at the Bible or asking questions or meeting friends, community group is a great way to do that. So please come talk to me after service if you're interested in community group. I can add you to the email list or just show up to our office some Wednesday night, and we would love to see you there at 7 p.m. All right, we also have a super sweet event coming up that I'm excited about. It's a webinar, and the webinar is titled Defend Trans Lives, and it's a webinar for people of faith specifically, and we're going to be showing this webinar on Tuesday, April 8th. It's going to be live at this time, Tuesday, April 8th at 5:30 p.m. at our office. And what this is it's being put on by this organization called Transforming Hearts Collective, and it's meant just to equip people of faith to understand what's going on in this field with people, with politics, all those things, how to advocate for trans lives, and how to learn how to engage in it in church spaces too. How do we become a welcoming space here and make sure we're loving all of our siblings in all of the ways. So if you're interested in that or have questions about that, we would love to see you there. Come to the office April 8th at 5:30. That's going to be a sweet time just to engage in that together. Also, this is just a virtual webinar, so if you're like, I want to come, but I have to be with my kids, or I want to come, but I don't want to drive to the office, you can watch it from home too. So connect with us, and we'd love to send you that link. All right. Also, our LGBTQ group is going to be meeting for one of our dinners coming up soon. So, if that is something that is a part of your life, or if you're interested in meeting other friends from that community, make sure that you're on our email list. There's a little sign-up sheet right on the back table for that. All right. And my last announcement for you: can you believe that Easter is less than a month away? We're here. Spring is in the air. But yes, Easter is on Sunday, April 20th this year, and we're doing what we normally have done for the last few years, which we call it our sunrise service, even though it starts at 9 a.m., because we don't really want to wake up that early. But it's at 9 a.m. over at Lake Mary. We do a little mini Lake Mary service at 9 a.m. on Easter morning, and we also offer the opportunity, if anyone is interested in getting baptized in the lake. That's a tradition we've always done on Easter morning together. So if you have any questions about that, if you're like, what the heck is baptism? Or I'm curious about that and I'd like to know more, I'd love to take you to coffee. Charlie would love to take you to coffee. We'd love to go on a walk or just get to know you and share a little bit more about what that means to us, what that means to our community. So if you're interested in being baptized on Easter, let us know. But we're going to go from our Lake Mary time at 9 a.m. to a brunch potluck at Ponderosa Trails Park, which is not far off Lake Mary Road. And there we'll have food, and there's a playground, and we're also going to do a big Easter egg hunt for kiddos. And then we'll still have our regular service here on Easter at 4:30 p.m. So it's a big, fun day. We hope you can join us for those things, and let us know if you're interested in baptism. Thanks.
All right, let's see if this works. Hopefully it's a long cord. Welcome, everyone. We're going to just sneak that out. So glad you're here this Sunday. We hope you always feel welcome at the Commons, especially if you're visiting with us. We really hope you feel very, very welcome here. We have always and continue to always pray for other churches in town to sort of center ourselves and remember how much we share in common with a diverse group of people in this community, hopefully spreading God's love. So today we're going to be praying for Mountaintop Assembly of God. Their pastor, Jackie Holgate, is a good friend of mine. So if you're the praying type, join me and we're going to lift them up. God, thank you for a beautiful Flagstaff day today. We're so thankful for a calm, warm spring day, and we're thankful to share this community with so much diversity of faith, both in and out of Christianity, but we're thankful for our siblings at Mountaintop Assembly, and thank you for Jackie and Lenora. Thank you for their leadership, and pray that all of them will know how loved they are by you and us, and let us always share this common goal of spreading your love to this town that we love. And God, we just pray that as we open up the book of Matthew today, that you would open up our hearts and minds. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, how many of you were at the banquet the other night? I see a lot of banquet faces. It was a party. There was like 150 of us packing out that Lowell Observatory room. If you weren't there, you missed out, and I hope you're a little bit miserable for not being aware of how to live your life and get to places where things are happening. It was great. Yeah, I see somebody owning it out there, yeah. It was a really, really, really good time, and I do want to echo Greta's thanks. It took a lot of hands to make that happen. It took a lot of committee meetings. It took a lot of people cutting charcuterie and putting it out and all the things. It's just kind of endless, so really, really, really grateful for that. It was cool. If you weren't there, we shared this idea. That's not what we're talking about today, but sort of our theme for being up the observatory was also thinking about how church is a little bit like an observatory amongst all the different analogies, and that it's a space, a building that people can come into, an observatory, and they can learn and they can grow and they can hang out and they can experience sort of curiosity about this great mystery that is the cosmos and the skies. But ultimately, the purpose of the observatory is to get out and look at the stars, and we think church is a little bit like that. So today you're doing that a little bit. We're gathering here, but we're kind of building up to this moment where we all get to experience the real show when we leave the doors, and in our hearts, the divine, and outside here. So that was a really fun time as a community to be together. I personally am exhausted. I have not seen many of you in a couple weeks because at the end of spring break, myself and Blaze and Colt, and actually Yeti, my dog's here. Look at that. Yeah. Can you hold Yeti up? This is my biggest dog, Yeti. This is like, I'm so happy right now. I didn't know Yeti was going to be right there. Yeah, the four of us, Yeti and Colt and I, went to the East Coast. We drove to Boston. Colt made it to the Nike Indoor Nationals and New Balance. We had 2 big track meets, and we drove almost 6,000 miles nonstop. I mean, it was so fun. And we just had done that in October. We had driven to Maine. And so we're like clocking some miles. Yeti, we figured out, has traveled 13,000 miles in the last few months with us. And we were wondering, is he the most well-traveled dog in America by car? I think it's possible. I don't know if you can Google that, but I think there's a chance he's in the running. So it was a really fun time. But we didn't sleep much. Came back to the banquet, stayed up all night getting ready for the banquet. Then yesterday was track meet day. So I was joking with the people backstage that this may be the first Sunday ever that I fall asleep during my sermon. I always put people to sleep, but I don't think I've ever knocked myself out. So I hope not. I'm very thankful for Greta filling in when I was gone and talking in our series of Lent about the 5 pillars of our church. And I just want to remind you, if you weren't here last week, you can watch online the YouTube channel, or you can check out the podcast and listen to her. She was talking about the pillar of inclusivity. The very first week of our Lent seasons, we were talking about the pillar of our church, which is spiritual connection. And today we're going to continue in our 5 weeks of Lenten series to talk about a third pillar of our church, which is a pillar that I love to talk about, which is justice. Now, justice is sort of one of those things, and there are many of these things that are a little ethereal. They're a little hard to grasp. These are high-minded ideas. And so I wanted to start by talking about what justice is before I talk about why we as a church, from the leadership team to the grassroots movements of all the people who would say they're a part of our family, highly value as a pillar of our way of being justice. So justice, to me, the simplest way to think of it is this: if everything is just as it should be, just as. It doesn't even rhyme with justice. It's not even really a good mental mark, but it's close, right? Just as. I wish everything was just as it should be. But justice is so much bigger than that because it's simple things. I actually Googled it earlier, and the Google AI came back and said that basically justice or social justice, either term, is the idea that every person should have opportunity and resources, basically regardless of who they are. So it's a very simple concept. And I think that most people, if you have children or if you were once a child, have some sort of innate sense of justice in you. At a very young age, children learn the phrase, "it's not fair." They discover this early on. And I'm not sure they always use it as a perpetrator of justice, but there's this intuitive knowing that some things are right in the world and some things are wrong. Now, what I find astounding to stand in front of you in 2025, which if you had asked me this 15 years ago, I would have never predicted this, is that in a church setting, I also have to explain that there's nothing wrong with seeking justice and social justice, and there's nothing sinful about empathy. But I do have to explain that in a church setting today, because a major, huge portion of American Christianity has decided that social justice or social justice warriors are somehow woke, liberal, political agents that are against the kingdom of God. And I'm not making this up. I have encountered many Christians in America who are anti-social justice, who are anti-now empathy, who are anti the very central teachings of Jesus of Nazareth, which I find very difficult to explain in a Christian setting. I find it interesting that this word woke is some sort of critical thing, like being awake is something that's bad, that you should be awake to the things around you, or that if you were a social justice warrior, someone who fights for justice, seems to me like a positive that humans would want to do, that we would want to seek opportunity and resources and equality for all sorts of people. Justice flows down in multiple flavors, and you can categorize them however you want to. You can think about simple things like economic justice. We live in a world of massive economic injustice. Our particular country, out of the 36 OECD countries, which are the developed countries of the world, is 36th in the highest in income inequality, meaning in the United States of America, the richest country in the history of the world, we also have the highest economic inequality of any developed country, meaning all of the money in this wealthy country is in the top 1%. In the richest country in the history of the world, we have 9 million children on food insecurity and without an everyday meal promised to them. There's a huge gap in our home country between the wealthiest billionaires, of whom there are many, 700 billionaires who could solve all these problems, and the many struggling single moms and single dads and married moms and dads and children who are just trying to make it along the way. That's not just as it should be. There should be something intuitive about the fact that we could probably, with some sort of imagination, with some sort of human strength, with some sort of collective uprising, with some sort of collective will, imagine a better society. We could probably figure out that love, if there's another ideal or an ethereal concept put into practice or with power or justice, would not in any way promote policies or ideas that create an economic system of such injustice. Not just our country, you can expand that around the world. You have oppressive regimes, you have all sorts of economic injustice. That's a category of injustice. There is racial injustice. You know, if you've been around here much, how much we believe this is at the core of a heart of a loving God and equality. Is that any sort of injustice that flows down based on the color of someone's skin or the identity of their nationality or any label you could slap across anything whatsoever is absolute nonsense. And yet, we live in a world with very tangible, real systems of racial oppression. We live in a world with very real racial hatred on an individual level, on a corporate level, and on systemic levels. And that's not just as it should be. It's not justice. There is gender injustice. There are women. I just watched a video. One of my favorite social media influencers. I love this video she put out today. She's Astro Athens. She does all these really cool space things. She's a great science communicator, highly educated woman. And today she opened up, I followed her for years, about her personal experience in the STEM community as a woman scientist. And she just shared all the negative comments she gets on her videos, just bashing her for being a woman and how dumb she is and never listen to a woman talk about astronomy because she's not a man. And I was like, unfortunately not shocked. I've lived on planet Earth for a while in this country, but it still struck anew to me that we still live in a world that the parts that you're born with somehow creates inequality. It somehow matters to some people. There's this patriarchal system that is still oppressing women today across every specter of society. It's injustice. It's not just as it should be. I don't have to go on and on. LGBTQ injustice, our gender diverse justice, environmental justice, the right to have a planet that has access and equality, and those who are the most impoverished and poor are the most affected by climate change. The world is not just as it should be. The question is, we're a church, and we're talking about the pillars of our church, and there's this national conversation about liberal versus conservative theologies or political ideologies and where should a church stand on justice. And to me, that's kind of one of the lowest hanging fruits you could possibly ask. And I say that because of the Bible. The Jewish scriptures and the Christian scriptures paired together to make up this Bible, it is the most simple thing in the world to read the literally thousands of verses from our Jewish brethren and sisters who teach us about, in all 39 books of what you might call the Old Testament, God's heart for justice, righteousness flowing down like rivers, prophets, Moses, Elijah, the Genesis story, the Exodus liberation story. The whole thing is just thousands of repeating that God cares about liberation, God cares about freedom, God cares about equality, God is love. And the Christian scriptures are laced with the same exact thing. From all of the teachings of Jesus to all of Paul's quirky letters, there's this constant theme of taking care of the poor, taking care of the widow, making sure there's not economic inequality, fighting against power structures and empire. It's so fascinating to me that anyone who ever cracks open this ancient library of texts could go, should we care about justice? It's sort of the main thing. But I want to read to you a passage that's a little weird. It's I've read it a couple of times here in our service, and it's one of the weirdest stories from the life of Jesus, and it's not the most explicit one I could pick about justice. My favorite is probably when he stands up in the temple and he reads from Isaiah and he proclaims that his calling is to bring justice and healing to the blind and hope for the sick and the poor, and he makes it very clear that his whole purpose is that. But it's actually this weird sort of metaphorical parable he tells in Matthew 25 that I want to try to tap into for our church's vision for justice. This is Matthew 25, Verse 31, it says, when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne. I have to do a super nerdy little side tangent here, and this might be a time you want to take a nap. I don't care. Just snooze out for a minute. Jesus sometimes calls himself the Son of Man, especially in the Gospel of Matthew, when Matthew wrote it down. And this is important because Matthew wrote his gospel to very Jewish audiences, whereas Luke and Mark has Jesus constantly referring to himself as the Son of God, as this identity marker, just as the Roman Caesars called themselves. Augustus and all of them said they were the Son of God. Matthew calls Jesus often the Son of Man. And I just want to point out this beautiful thing that is ancient in our ancestors' belief about Jesus of Nazareth, that these are titles that are metaphorical to remember that Jesus is fully human, and as Mark and Luke would remind us, fully divine. And I would also remind you that Jesus invites us into those same identities. Part of the incredible radical nature of true Christian teaching is that we all have this beautiful dual nature and are invited to partake in. Now, Jesus was the par excellence face of God, but I love that in this particular story, Jesus is highlighting his humanity, and he's also an apocalyptic teacher. He talks about the end times and this idea that someday when everything is put right, or when things are just as they should be, all the good and the bad will get sorted out. This is in a long line of Jewish prophets. They did this in a way, that's what the whole book of Revelation is. It's what Baruch and 2nd Esdras, the intertestamental literature, it's a genre of literature we're not really familiar with. And Jesus did this. He talked about the end times, but it's a way of saying the way things actually should be right now. It's their way of calling for justice in the present world. So I'm back from that sidebar. You can wake up or nudge the person next to you. He's saying all that and says this: all the nations will be gathered before God or him. And he said, and he will separate the people one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. This is also a strong case that left-handed people are real messed up. Like, clearly this is a very literal and clear thing that right-handed people are superior. Sorry, Blaze. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison or go to visit you? And the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. And then he goes on to tell, most of you know the rest of this weird parable, all the people on the other side, the left-handed goats. He was saying, you didn't do all that, and now you're going to go to this fiery destination, this hellish reality prepared for the devil and his angels. I don't like that stuff. It's hard to understand, especially if you grew up evangelical like me and you have this sort of medieval, I now understand, developed idea of this eternal conscious torment and hell that gained traction in the Middle Ages. Not at all what Jesus was talking about. And I find it funny because if you're a biblical literalist or fundamentalist, or you think the only way to interpret the Bible is literally and explicit, and you think this is actually talking about some future literal event, that does matter if you're on the right or the left side, as silly as it is to take any of that literally, you will actually miss the power of what Jesus was actually saying here. You'll actually miss how true it truly is, in a real sense, for all of us in a way that impacts our life every single day. This is not about a test of who gets into some future eternal heaven or hell. Jesus is always talking about the hell that exists on earth and the reality of not living a life of love, or a kingdom of heaven, which is an embodiment of love, which is a community of flourishing and growth. But here's my question to those that are biblical literalists or evangelical to their core. If this is literally true and how people get sorted out at the end of the time, didn't Jesus do a really bad job of presenting the gospel? There's no mention here of asking Jesus in your heart to get into heaven. There's no mention here of getting baptized to get into heaven. There's no mention here of having the right beliefs about if there's a God or not to get into heaven. If this story is literally true, if that's the only way to understand it, it's clear that what they're talking about is people who bring justice to the world are the ones that are going to heaven. It's basically the opposite of everything I was taught in evangelicalism. It's 100% based on your deeds. Now, I don't believe this is about the end times. Here's why. I understand the entire work and power of the Jewish prophet Jesus and the arc of what he was teaching. The thing that is central to understand that I think is so core is that he, in everything that he was trying to communicate, was opening the doorway for every human heart to understand the reality of the hellish injustice that we live in. It wasn't hard in Roman Palestine 2,000 years ago to see the oppression of the Roman Empire, the economic inequality, the slavery that existed, the power dynamics, the pedophilia, the unbelievable patriarchy. Anyone who was living in poverty in ancient Palestine when Jesus was there would be like, I know what he's talking about, this hellish existence. But here's the thing that I want you to lean in and hear that I think is the most important truth of this. In Jesus' story, Jesus, or God himself, is saying, whatever you did to the least of these, or for the least of these, you did to or for me. I used to actually think in some way that Jesus was a little arrogant here. And by the way, this is repeated a couple different times in the Gospels from Jesus and also in some of Paul's letters. I used to think that was a sort of grandiose way of thinking about yourself, that I'm so important that whatever you do to them, you're doing to me because I'm the greatest king. But I actually missed how unbelievably humble and mystically and spiritually deep and true this concept is. Because what it is the central secret to unpacking true justice in this world of actual empathy. What it means is that you and I can say the same thing. Whatever you do for the least person in some sort of caste system, be it the caste system of India or the caste system of America, those that are on the bottom, the marginalized, the oppressed, whatever you do for them, you do for me. And why is that not an arrogant statement? Because it's a central, beautiful understanding that we belong to each other. There are some phrases that mean a lot to me that come from some of the leaders like Martin Luther King and others that have gone before about justice that I resonate with on a deep level. One of them is, we're not free unless all of us are free. Because on some level, there's a disconnect in our psyche and our soul and self when we understand that there are people suffering in the world. And sometimes we don't know how to function, so we just have to ignore it so that we can go to our jobs or go to work or function in society. But I believe we split our souls in half a little bit when we do that. It's understandable, and I do it all the time. But I'm thankful for a church community and tradition that calls me out of that numbness to remember that if we're not all free, none of us are free. There's a thing that Martin Luther King says. He says that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And if we're to take the teachings of Jesus seriously, and I'm to inform you that the reports today on March 23rd out of Gaza, ceasefire broke down on Tuesday, after a year of working for this has fallen apart again. We're back to genocide mode. Just today, 51 Palestinians were killed. 2 days ago, 130 Palestinian children were bombed. As the ceasefire has fallen apart, whatever is done to the least of these is done to me and is done to you. I believe Jesus is calling us to consider the divine in each of us that believes that we truly belong to one another. And that includes Palestinian children and Ukrainian children and inner city kids in Louisiana and Russian children and rich children and Australian children and elderly people in every skin color, in every gender expression, in every way of life, in every belief system. We belong to each other, and the power of justice comes from love. Greta said last week in her sermon that the 5 pillars of this church are interconnected. The interconnectedness of them is what's so powerful. And the reason justice is important to us is because of our spiritual connection. It's because we tap into the love of God, and it's because of community. It's because we love each other, and it's because we're going to use service to reach them. And inclusivity is how we recognize that we all belong to each other. Well, so what? How do we put that into our actual lives as we think about it as a community? My favorite little alliteration, which is so simple, that years and years ago, I think was the first time I gave a sermon on this little E alliteration, is that there are basically 2 types of ways of existing in the world: escaping or engaging. And this framework has helped me in so many situations as I evaluate any particular practice of any particular religious organization. Is this religious organization and belief system and their way of being escaping the world or engaging with the world? And I, for one, have no more time in my life and no interest in any Christian church who is selling escapism. That their whole message is this world is terrible. If you say or believe the right things, you're going to escape it someday. So just burn it to the ground, do whatever you want, and enjoy being loved by God. Worthless religion. A religion that has nothing to offer to fight the hell that is on this earth is nothing to do with the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. Nothing to do with the ancestors who were doing it right, who fought for the abolition of slavery, who stood up against violence and war, laid down their lives and fought for children in every possible scenario you can because the love of God inflamed their hearts so much that they believed whatever happened to the least and the hurting is happening to me. Here's the beautiful thing about being in a community, especially one that's committed to engaging with the world, is you don't have to do it alone. I mentioned earlier that I, like you, struggle with whatever level of privilege you've been handed, and it's all different levels of privilege for each of us in this room, but we all have some of it. At some level, we can just shut down and not worry about those Palestinian, Ukrainian kids, or we don't have to care about what's going on in some part of a neighborhood in Sunnyside if it's not happening to us. And if we were just alone, I don't think we really have a choice but to be overwhelmed by that. But we're not alone. We're sitting in pews next to each other to remind ourselves of what we can do to find our voice to stand up for anyone who isn't experiencing justice. It blows my mind, and I'm shockingly embarrassed that in our particular time, in our particular country, Christians are the least justice-oriented people in our collective society. I'm angry about that. I'm hurt by that. I'm embarrassed by that. And I'm also thrilled to be a part of a little family here that shares those feelings. And I'm also thrilled that that loud voice in this country and that majority, that big wide path that leads to destruction, doesn't include the narrow path that leads to life and all of the voices and heroes in the faith. And by the way, mostly led by people and women of color and gender diverse people who understand what it's like to be on the margins and understand what God's heart is for true oneness and justice. I'm proud that there is another voice, and I'm proud that this community is a part of trying to figure that out. As we come to the communion table today, I want you to wrestle with some hard stuff. Sometimes church, I think, is a place to be challenged a little bit and to be a little bit uncomfortable. Sometimes church just needs to be rest and reminding you how loved you are. It's a balance. It's a place to walk through all the rooms of the observatory before we walk out into the mystery that is life and divinity. Today, I hope you're challenged a little bit. I hope that you take a minute to pause and think about those moments where we shut down the painful thought of what's happening to someone else's kids. There was another mass shooting in New Mexico this weekend, and we don't even care. We're just so used to it. But what if it was your kid in Los Alamos? Because we belong to each other. Because whatever happens to the least of these happens to us. What if it was our country being bombed by the most powerful country in the world and weaponized through all these interglobal politics, and it was our children underneath the rubble? The challenging, uncomfortable thing is to sit in that, but to do it together and have conversations with each other and say, what then should we do? How can we empower each other? How can we encourage each other? How can we make sure that we're getting rest and taking care of ourselves and going right back into the battle so that we're giving a voice to the voiceless people and that we're doing everything that I believe Jesus was bringing in this kingdom of God to do? At the communion table today, I think of it in so many different ways. That's one of the things that's great about any art is you just reinterpret it over and over again. It has new meanings. We imbue meaning into it. And today what I want us to think about when we come to the communion table is this idea of oneness. It's a mystical truth that I believe is more true than we could actually wrap our mind around. I just want you to pause for a second and lean in and listen to what I'm saying to you right now. I believe with all of my heart that we 100% belong to each other. I believe it's so true that when you're hurting, I'm hurting too. And when you're celebrating, I'm celebrating too. And I don't think we even know how deep and true that is. It's a life quest for us to tap into that, live into it. And when we do, we become the best versions of ourselves, the most loving, the most empathetic, the most empowered, the most transformative we can possibly be. The communion table, one way of interpreting it is like tasting that, sharing a meal together, not with someone else, but with yourself and another body, the one body of humanity, the oceanic oneness. And that good, positive, true message can give us the strength to face the difficulty of our beloved siblings around the world who are truly suffering under injustice. And then hopefully we'll be inspired because of our shared feasts and a remembrance of grace and nonviolence and love and a shared, inspired group to go make a change in the world. Let me pray over these elements and we'll share them. God, I'm so thankful for this small community of believers who I've seen at rallies and town hall meetings and at the front of the food distribution lines and at the border shutting down detention centers. I'm just so inspired by this family, and I'm thankful that your teachings can lead us there, this narrow way that leads to life. It's hard. It requires feeling and empathy and caring. May you give us the strength to let go of some of our defense mechanisms. May you give us the strength to not ignore those that are hurting and to speak up and take a risk. And I pray as we come to the communion table that we will take these physical elements of wine and bread into our physical bodies as a symbol of oneness. That it is true, whatever happens to the least of these is for you and to you and for me and to me. And I just pray that as we celebrate this sacrament, this holy moment, that you will move in our hearts and transform our minds. In Jesus' name.
Is it a time? Is it a place? Is it a person or a change? Are you safe on the road you chose? Did you make it home? Is it where prayers go when you pray? Is it the turning of the page? I'm thinking of you as you go. Did you make it home?
Is it a time? Is it a place? Is it a person or a change? Are you safe on the road you chose? Did you make it home? Is it the prayers go when you pray? Is it the turning of the page? Thinking of you as you go. Did you make it home?
We're going to sing one more song together, so feel free to stand and sing with us. As I rise, strength of God, go before, lift me up. And as I wake, eyes of God, look upon, be my side, be my side. As I wait, heart of God, satisfy and sustain. As I hear, voice of God, lead me on, be my guide, be my guide. Above and below me, before and behind me, in every eye that sees me, Christ be all around me. Above and below me, before and behind me, in every eye that sees me, Christ be all around me. As I go, hand of God, my defense by my side. As I Christ be all around me.
Thank you. I don't know who wrote that song, but that song is actually based off of a prayer from St. Patrick. Probably it's called the Breastplate of St. Patrick. It's a really cool thing that he probably wrote. It's probably authentic to the actual St. Patrick. I was in Boston on St. Patrick's Day weekend, which was really fun, and we went to the Boston Common, the big park, and we had Yeti with us. I'm only telling this because Yeti was here a second ago. He must be out going to the bathroom now, but you guys, when we take that dog around downtown Flagstaff, everybody sort of freaks out. I mean, it's a dog town, but it's a tiny dog. But when we went to the Boston Common, it was like we were Taylor Swift. I have never felt more famous in my life than walking Yeti. I don't know if they don't see Chihuahua mixes up in the north as much as we do in the south, but people could not understand the size of our dog. And there's no reason for me sharing that story whatsoever. It's just that Yeti was here, and I just wanted to let you know that was really, really fun. Tonight, if you want to keep hanging out, as Greta mentioned, we got leftovers, so come eat food while we're cleaning up and tear down and that kind of thing. And then if you want to continue the conversation or just hang out, we're going to Lumberjack Pizza tonight. I'll pray for us, and then we'll go be together. God, thank you so much for an ancient tradition of justice. Thank you for prophets, both ancient and today, who speak truth to power and continue to believe in the long moral arc of history moving and bending towards justice and light. And we do pray in the voice of our ancestors that may justice flow down like righteous rivers. We want to be your hands and feet of bringing equality and hope and love and opportunity and resource and flourishing to this world. Thank you for your love, and may that be the motivating force behind it. In Jesus' name, amen.